98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com presents the Mid-Columbia Today Show with Mark Bailey. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive. Now, here's Mark Bailey.
Good morning. It is 8:05 on a Thursday morning, another day in Mid-Columbia Today. If you're listening live, at least it is 8:05. You're on our podcast. You're listening anytime you want because you have the freedom to do so because you're having it downloaded right to your mobile device. Not a bad idea. You can do that wherever podcasts are found. But here's what we're doing this morning. First part of the show, Andy Kallinen, Klickitat County Commission candidate, is going to join us in studio. There are three running for the two spots in the general election. And he is the first guest we've had on for the county commission race, so we'll talk about that. Then, as we have a Washington theme today, apparently, Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital, general surgeon, is going to join us on the phone. We'll talk about what he does and understand he brings some different services that have been available to the area. So we will do that with him coming up, in about 20-plus minutes or so, right around 8:30 this morning. But before we do any of that, as we always do, let us tell you about what this day has meant and what it means, at least to some people. This day in 1850, President Zachary Taylor died of a gastrointestinal illness after consuming a large amount of cherries and iced milk on a hot day 5 days earlier. Apparently, they were not following what Darren Ryan from the River County Health Department talked about with us yesterday about following food safety practices. Vice President Millard Fillmore was sworn in as president the following day. This day in 1868, the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, granting citizenship and equal protection under the laws to anyone born or naturalized in the U.S., including formerly enslaved people. 1918, 101 people were killed in a train collision in Nashville, the deadliest U.S. rail disaster in history. 1937, a fire at 20th Century Fox's storage facility in Little Ferry, New Jersey, destroyed most of that studio's silent films. A lot of movie history went up in that fire. 1943, during World War II, the Allies launched Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily. 1944, during World War II, American forces secured Saipan as the last Japanese defenses fell. 1982, Pan Am Flight 759, a Boeing 727, crashed in Kenner, Louisiana, shortly after takeoff from New Orleans International Airport, killing all 145 people aboard and 8 people on the ground. In 2010, the largest U.S.-Russia spy swap since the Cold War was completed on a remote stretch of Vienna Airport tarmac as planes from New York and Moscow arrived within minutes of each other, with 10 Russian sleeper agents and 4 prisoners accused by Russia of spying for the West. 2004, a Senate Intelligence Committee report concluded the CIA had provided unfounded assessments of the threat posed by Iraq that the Bush administration relied on justifying going to war. And 2018, President Donald Trump nominated Brett Kavanaugh to fill the seat left vacant by the retirement of Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Don't have many days for today. It is called the Horizon Day today, which apparently is about, the feeling we get when we look out on the horizon and look out to the future and the unknown. It's also Fashion Day, and that is something truly I know nothing about whatsoever. I don't have that bug. I just don't care. And that isn't just a function of age either. I didn't care when I was a teenager either. We start to transition to food here. It's National Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Omelet Day. It's a takeoff on the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Our food today, it's a good basic dessert. It's National Sugar Cookie Day. And you can do a lot of things with sugar cookies. My personal favorite, I like frosted sugar cookies. Don't really need to have them that much. Tend to be a holiday thing for me, Christmas time. But that's my personal preference. But that's what we have today for you. That's all we've got for what it's worth, which may not be a whole lot. Again, we're going to talk to Andy Kallinen, Klickitat County Commission candidate. He told us he was he got to come across the bridge. And we all know the Hood River Whitesman Interstate Bridge, it's not linear, is it? As far as how long it takes to get through that area. It might take 2 minutes. It might take 10. We need the funding for that new bridge. I want to hear the only answer I want to hear from the federal government on this, by the way, is here's the check. That's the only answer I want to hear. That's the only answer the Bridge Authority wants to hear either, if you really break it down. They'll say it in a much more politically acceptable way. I don't have to. So, anyway, we expect him to come in a moment or two. And again, Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital, general surgeon, is going to join us on the show a little after 8:35 this morning. As we continue along on this lovely Thursday, and we will hopefully have Andy Kallinen here, or just about here, when we come back right after this.
Summer's biggest gorge tradition returns, the Hood River County Fair. Bring the whole family for carnival rides, great fairground food, livestock, exhibits, community traditions, and fun for all ages. Saturday night's concert features country hitmakers Black Hawk live on stage. Whether you come for the music, the memories, or the classic county fair experience, there's something for everyone. Concerts are free with fair admission. The Hood River County Fair in Odell, July 22nd through 25th.
Looking for high-quality prints without the high price? At Bonds Printing, we make it easy and affordable to get the copies and digital prints you need. From black and white documents to vibrant full-color prints, we deliver fast turnaround and unbeatable value. Need flyers, reports, or presentations? We've got you covered without breaking your budget. Come see why more people are choosing Bonds Printing for reliable service, great prints, even better prices. Bonds Printing, 308 Union, The Dalles.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bi-Coastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
8:12 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. Actually, I just saw the door open for our guest. Our guest just arrived here. Can you help him with the door, if you would, Cameron? He's our guest here has been dealing with I guess, an ankle injury. So we will we'll get him settled here. While Cameron does that, we get Andy Kallinen in here to the studio. We will tell you that the Gorge Heritage Museum opens for the season. Actually, it's been open for a little while. Fridays and Saturdays from 11 to 4, they're open. They're at 202 East Humboldt in Bingen. For more information, go to gorgeheritagemuseum.org. And on Saturdays, by the way, the History Museum of Hood River County has their historic walking tours. Through September 5th, they'll be doing it, 9:30 to 11 each Saturday. Tickets $15, available at hoodriverhistorymuseum.org. And tours start at the Lightwell Hotel. So, we are just getting Andy settled in here. He had to deal with the bridge. That's all I got to say. He's dealing with the bridge. Okay, we got you settled in. Hey, Andy, good morning, and thanks for being with us. Oh, I got to wait here. I got to let Cameron go back in the studio there and be able to turn your microphone up. Andy, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. Klickitat County Commission candidate. We'll have you talk a little bit more into the microphone there. So, thanks for coming in. I didn't realize you were injured until you sent that email, so I thank you for making the trip all the way in here.
Yeah, you bet.
Running for Klickitat County Commission, as I mentioned a little earlier on the show, one of the three candidates running for the 2 spots in the general election. I'm going to start out with what we usually ask our candidates traditionally. For those who are not familiar, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I'm born and raised in Washington, lifelong resident of Washington, and I went to college in Ellensburg, Washington. I was born on the west side. My dad was a Boeing engineer, and I went to college at Central Washington University, where I got a degree in law and justice, obtained that, paid for college with an Army ROTC scholarship, was commissioned as a second lieutenant military police officer. But the Soviet Union kind of ruined my career plans and kind of fell apart as a lot of communist things don't quite work out. And so the Army decided they didn't need as many lieutenants that year as they had for every year since World War II. So I had myself with a law and justice degree and military police school, and well, what am I going to do with that? But while I was there, I fell in love with that Cascade rain shadow, the climate, and the topography and the ecology of the Eastern Washington stuff after, growing up on the wet side. And started hunting around for police jobs. And back then it was kind of tough, a lot of competition, unlike today. So I stumbled into park rangering, went to Park Ranger Academy, and started with the National Park Service up at Lake Roosevelt, Washington, behind the Grand Coulee Dam. And later that same season, had an opportunity to come down here to Klickitat County as a Washington State Park Ranger, and I've been here ever since, 33 years.
Wow. Why did you decide to run for county commission?
Well, I'm a voter,
Okay.
and I just looking at choices back in, I was never a political animal. I had to take some poli-sci classes as part of my law and justice degree, and I'm like, and I started getting more in tune with, being more aware of it instead of just, focused on my own life. And now if it's important, I'll hear about it from somebody else. And just grew really dissatisfied with folks that tend to gravitate into politics. As they say, they're politicians, right? And so when 2024 came along, and some redistricting occurred in Washington State, and at that time, Chris Corey and Gina Mossbrucker were our representatives for the 14th district over in Washington. After they redrew the boundaries, they'd been cut out of the new boundaries.
Right.
And so both seats were open. And as a voter, I sat there and looked at, well, who's running for these open seats? And when I saw the choices at the time, I was like, that's my choice. It's A or B, because we have a jungle primary in Washington.
Right,
and so, if I tend to vote one way on the conservative side, most of the time, Republican stuff. And I was like, I'd prefer more than one choice. And so I jumped in that, ran for state legislature in 2024. One-man band, and some of the establishment was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just, I'm giving the voters a choice. And that experience was enlightening, and I didn't win, of course. I came real close I was outspent 60-1 and came within just a few hundred votes. And but things happen for a reason, and I think that was an opportunity to learn about politics at a more granular level and what it is, and get out to the public, go into candidate forums and things like that. And when this seat came around, happens to be my district, and having watched how things have been going during this past term, I just decided, the voters need a choice.
Now, you're on the High Prairie Community Council, or have been, correct?
Yes.
With that. I guess I'll use that as a jumping off point. For the local communities that are unincorporated, so which means they have the community councils, but they're, the county commission makes decisions. How do you feel the relationship has been?
I've been on the community council for a year and a half now.
Okay.
Started is 25, 26 is the term. And, the commissioner's been to a couple of meetings. I think we had Commissioner Andrews once, and we've had Commissioner Zoller a couple of times after the Burdoin fire, and another time at the beginning of this year. She was just kind of giving us an update. Ours has a 501(c) designation, so we can do a lot of stuff that some of the other ones that don't have that. So we don't have to interact with the county commissioners as much as maybe say like Wishram or some of the ones that don't have that.
So you mentioned giving a choice. Differentiate yourself a little bit maybe from the current incumbent.
Yeah. So with over 33 years in public service, I took my first oath to the Constitution as a contracted cadet back in 1988, and that entire time with that military background and stuff as an officer in the Army National Guard is where I ended up. My approach to analyzing problems, in the military, we call it a mission analysis. And I'm just going to bring a much more methodical, deliberate evaluation of the county's needs and county problems, laying out pros and cons, and just a much more methodical approach to dealing with those kinds of issues.
So what do you see as the biggest issue the county's facing right now?
Well, we've had some ups and downs with the budget. There's not a crisis right now, but managing that, and the current commission has implemented what they're calling their 3-year plan to kind of like guide back into center, make sure that they're fiscally ready. But we're seeing a lot with data centers, the wind and solar and energy overlay zones. And we've had some revenue losses through what we get through landfill dollars and things like that. So just trying to maintain a good budget, and public safety is a big piece for me. Yeah, having been a law enforcement officer for the state for 33 years, operating on the same radio frequencies, relying on Klickitat County Sheriff's deputies to back me up. Often rangers are working alone. Washington State, our rangers are sworn peace officers, same as the deputies or city officers. So making sure our 911 center, its staffing has really been just
well, yeah,
tough.
From my understanding of covering the whole region is that it's been tough for everybody.
Yeah,
to keep that going. So, given the fact that resources are what they are, because you outlined it, and I don't think anybody necessarily argues about that there isn't a need for more deputies out there.
Sure.
So how do you? I'll go on the public safety side here.
Yeah.
How do you bring improvements on the public safety side to put maybe more people on the roads while also trying to keep the budget balanced?
Sure, absolutely. Well, what I've experienced, there's sometimes the lawmakers that take care of the state budget that funds our officers and things, is they oftentimes if we keep the salary down, that'll save us money. But when you start turnover,
because then people go get other jobs.
They leave, and then you're in this cycle where okay, now we're recruiting again. Recruiting costs money. You're short because they left, so now you're paying a deputy overtime to cover the hole. And so there's ways to streamline and be more efficient with what we have, and I think there's probably room to find that, saving some overtime dollars here and there. But, that'll be ultimately the sheriff's, job.
I was saying, where does that balance come in with, the sheriff is elected to make the decisions that you just outlined. But the reality is the county commission has the purse strings, and usually whoever holds the purse strings kind of dictates the situation.
Right.
So how do you balance all that?
Well, again, I'll lean back on my 20 years concurrent military time, along with 30 plus years in law enforcement, and working collaboratively, breaking those silo walls and building relationships. And I've been building relationships with outside agencies, federal agencies, tribal agencies, my entire career, and doing that internally within the county, making sure that all the departments are working together, where they can support each other instead of being in their own little cubicle. It's like, oh, that department needs X. Well, I can maybe support that. So working on those relationships, but at the same time, there's opportunities. I think the landfill is, Republic has secured, I think, a contract that was maybe up in the air. It's kind of what I've been hearing. So things may be looking better on the landfill side as far as the revenue that the county does get. Maybe we can find some there. But also, if it's something that the public wants, I've entertained the idea, if we can't find it in-house with the dollars we already have, there is room in sales tax. Everybody hates the word tax, sales tax or a levy, but I would propose that to the voters, not something that would be done, unilaterally by decision makers. And I'd work, if we can't find it in-house, I'd work on something to put it to the voters. Do they want to pay a little bit more for specifically dedicated for public safety?
I'll go to the economic development, and you brought up data centers. They certainly can bring revenue to counties. We know that looking at Wasco County. But they also bring other issues as well. There has been discussion, I guess, of a potential data center out in the Dallasport area, even though I don't think there's anything formally been filed at this point. A lot of chatter.
Yeah.
What's real? Who knows? How do you feel like the county, though, should prepare itself? Because the permit requests are going to come,
right.
and the data centers are they're going to look around because the Klickitat County land and the closest to water, it fits the profile.
Sure.
What does the county need to do to be ready?
If I were there, I'd be having some workshops. You gotta start pre-planning. Like in the military, we've got 120 day. Every training year comes along. You got to start looking at that way ahead of time, and so pre-planning for it instead of. And I see it in government all the time. 33 years in state government, I see oops, here's a problem. And now we're making an emergency decision that is often guided by factors that we might have been able to control if we'd been thinking about it and planning for it ahead of time. I was doing a little reading on how we came to this Dallasport one, and it was as I understand it, it was a request from the previous planner as to what they are, and it's they're light industrial, and then the county planning commission, as I understand it, had a hearing or a vote or a meeting and decided to concur with that. I plan on looking into a little bit of, nothing's been filed yet. Nothing's been done yet. Can we revisit that opinion and that decision?
Yeah, it's because it's talk at this point.
Right.
Do you have an idea, Amanda, what parameters to be placed on because you can make a case again for the county that these are good for the county. You make a case that they're bad for the county.
Right.
Either way, and. Do you have an idea, maybe parameters in your mind, and knowing that you're not an expert because nobody on the commission is going to be,
right? In
all reality, of how the county should maybe frame an approach of, if you're going to do this, this is how we want to see it done.
Yeah. Well, to me, as a resident and a ratepayer in the county, these things are a glutton for energy.
Right.
They take a ton of power. So what does that do to, the rates that, are we making more power for them? And so to me, my gut would say they need to provide their own power. Like it needs to come as a complete package. They come with their own water plan, their own power plan, and they're self-sufficient. Like they're not pulling off the grid that we, the residents, are buying our electricity from, because supply and demand, our rates are going to go up if they're buying all the power and they got all the money and they can afford to pay more.
Well, county commissions hear about roads a lot. I know Klickitat County in particular, nature of a rural area.
Yeah.
So roads and transportation, I saw that was an issue on your website that you want to address. What do you see that needs to be? Do you see anything that needs to be done differently? I may be putting words in your mouth there.
It's one of those things that you can't shortchange it. In my time in the military, I had a couple of active duty stints where I drove, was authorized POV and drove across the country. You get an opportunity to drive through other states and their counties and those things, and just. If you don't maintain what you have, it's always more costly to replace it or put it back together. So just ensuring that a short-term fix, if there's a pinch, that it's not like, we're going to defer that maintenance, the road degrades more, to make it a priority that we maintain what we have and don't let it degrade further, because trying to fix it further down the road is definitely more expensive. Materials cost more. Labor costs more, everything costs more. So take care of it, nip it in the bud early.
Mental health is also something I saw that you mentioned in your campaign literature.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is an issue that is vexing at a number of different levels, from small rural counties to large urban counties to state to the federal level.
Right.
For Klickitat County, what do you think can be done? Again, we get back to the resources available. Right. What do you envision?
Well, in my time, I've interacted with deputies on calls. I hear the calls on the radio, and with Washington's laws, with some of the police reform stuff that came around after the George Floyd stuff, there's a lot of things that previously law enforcement could put hands on, escorts and things like that to control people who may be in mental health crisis that can't be done anymore or need to be done different. I did see that the county was advertising for a crisis responder and a case supervisor for that. So that's two positions that I have seen recently advertised by the county that didn't exist. At least they didn't exist on paper that I saw at the time I put my literature together. But I was recently working up in Yakima County, and we have some shortages of officers around our agency, around the state, and I was checking in with the Yakima County Sheriff's Office, and they've got DCRs in the sheriff's office monitoring the radio traffic.
DCR, be probably to define that for people.
What's that?
DCR, define that for people.
It's a crisis responder. Okay. Yeah. And so they're mental health professionals. Okay. So, in the academy, our police officers, they get some basic training on how to de-escalate and try to manage people that are in mental health crisis or having an event or recognizing, various mental illness issues. So that's a big step, those positions. I was happy to see those. And I have close family members that suffer from mental health issues, and I've seen firsthand and lived firsthand some of the frustrations with it. So I just want to ensure that we have resources, and it looks like the county's starting on them. But
I would think the challenge, because you mentioned Yakima County, but Yakima County's got a large population center, obviously. Economies of scale become very difficult.
Sure.
On that, I would think that's probably maybe the biggest hurdle to trying to put something like that together.
Right. Yeah. And so if there's two that I saw advertised, and Yakima County I think they had two in the hanging out in the sheriff's office at any given shift, or at least about 16 hours a day. I think they had them on staff. So. Yeah, it's economy of scale, if they've got, two on and we've got one on, and we can look at that, and that could be part of that public safety package, because they're linked. When I was running for state legislature, I was talking to a commander at the Clark County corrections facility with hundreds of inmates, and they're allocated 2 beds at Western State Mental Hospital. And they said that probably 30% of their people had significant mental health issues, and upwards of 80 had some level of mental health issue when you roll addiction issues into it.
One final question we'll really get away here, and that is transparency always comes up with local government. How do you define transparency in local government operations?
Well, just being right up front, like when we meet, when there's two together, it's a quorum, and so being smart about not just engaging in that hallway conversation with two people, and maybe it's holding more workshops, or a longer one. I know they do them on. They do some every other Thursday. They put in some extra time, having more outreach, like maybe a regular schedule at those community or city council meetings, like once a quarter, having one of the commissioners represent. Of course, the Zoom is there. Folks can tune in, and I try to tune in as much as I can, to see what's going on. But, I think it's just, and maybe it's a report, like I get from my state legislature every now and then. I get hey, here's what's going on here.
Yeah. Andy Kallinen, it's right from Klickitat County Commission. Andy, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and thanks for your patience with my mobility challenges.
We've had to wait a lot longer for people to arrive to the show, I can tell you that. Andy, thanks for being with us. 8:34 in the morning. News is next.
There are a lot of places that can make your name or image pop. But at Rage Graphics and Design, we can make it explode.
Get the word out. Rage Graphics and Design.
Your image the way you'd like the world to see it.
Rage Graphics and Design.
Signs, banners, special advertising. It's your business. Why just pop when you can explode?
Rage Graphics and Design.
217 East 3rd Street in the Dalles. Or call 296-SIGN.
Rage Graphics and Design. Get the word out.
Make this your best summer with exclusive deals on Ram trucks during the 4th of July sales event at C.H. Ernest Motors. Purchase any 2026 Ram 2500 or 3500 model. Get 5.9% APR financing for 84 months. All backed by America's best powertrain limited warranty. Talk with a certified expert today to learn more. C.H. Ernest Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Your only locally owned dealer since 1946. Between Fred Meyer and Safeway in the Dalles. Or online at earnestmotors.com.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the gorgeous local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
8:36 in the morning. We're running a bit behind here. We will have Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital with us here in just a few moments, but we do need to do our news break here. Hood River Mayor Paul Blackburn announcing he will not seek re-election in November. He originally joined City Council in 2004. He was elected mayor in November 2014, resigned from that post in August 2019 when his family moved from the community for a couple of years, was elected again in November of 2022. Out-of-state owners of Hood River vacation homes this week urged a federal appeals court to revive their lawsuit against the city and find a city ordinance governing short-term rentals discriminates against them and favors local homeowners. The city's ordinance, amended in July of 2024, requires a home intended for short-term rentals to be occupied as the primary residence of the owner or by a local tenant under a lease for 12 months or longer. Columbia Gorge Community College announcing 2 new academic programs, including an initial early childhood education certificate offered in both English and Spanish, and additive manufacturing processes certificate in the college's advanced manufacturing and fabrication program. An ODOT crews on Monday will begin repairing and replacing about 400 timber guardrail posts on the historic Columbia River Highway between Rowena and the Dalles that were damaged in the 2025 Rowena fire. That work will run from Highway 30 milepost 64 to milepost 71. Currently 58 degrees in Stevenson, 65 in the Dalles, 61 in Hood River at 8:37.
For any type of metal fabrication, machining, or repair, see Schlosser Machine Shop on Tucker Road in Hood River. Structural steel, stainless steel, aluminum, field, and on-site welding. If it's metal, Schlosser Machine can build it or fix it. Schlosser Machine. High-precision machining since 1988.
Whether it's home, auto, business, or life insurance, be sure to see the people at Columbia River Insurance. With access to over 80 different carriers, their relationships have been built carefully and strategically for the Gorge. Columbia River Insurance, locally based, experienced, and insuring the Gorge since 1925.
Hey, it's Zach from Del Carpine Automotive. You know those tall Sprinter vans that look like they could secretly double as apartments? Yeah, we work on those, and we know them really well. Whether it's your adventure rig, work van, or mystery mobile full of camping gear and snacks from 2022, we've got you covered. We're now just 10 minutes up the hill in our great new location in Hood River. Come see us. From Mercedes and Ford, big rigs to Sprinters, no jobs too big or small. At Del Carpine, we work on them all. Family owned and locally trusted.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bi-Coastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
8:41 in the morning, and we thank for his patience waiting for us here as we got behind this morning on our schedule. Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital joins us. Steve, thanks for being with us, and thanks for waiting.
Good morning, Mr. Bailey. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you as well, and I'm told you're a general surgeon at Skyline Hospital in White Salmon. How did you matriculate there?
Well, I worked in my first job and my longest job was in Vancouver, Washington, where I worked for 30 years. In the early 2000s, I occasionally needed someone to cover here, so I would cover a week at a time. And I thought, oh my gosh, this place is like heaven. And I always thought that maybe it'd be nice that someday this would be my permanent position. And lo and behold, it just happened this winter.
Mm-hmm. So you're a general surgeon at Skyline. When we say general surgeon, what does that mean? I mean, obviously you do surgery, but when we say just general.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a sticking point for a lot of general surgeons. Mm-hmm. Originally general surgery was just what it sounded like. You did chest surgery, abdominal surgery, you did a whole wide variety, and then as more and more specialties came in, thoracic surgeons, vascular surgeons, general surgery has kind of evolved to kind of surgery in the trunk, like for your GI tract, your abdominal wall. It's kind of where it is now. So hernias and gallbladders and colon cancers. That's sort of the nuts and bolts of general surgery now. But general surgeons hate that term, and but they haven't found a better one, so they've stuck with it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you have any ideas yourself.
Yeah. Well, I have a few, but probably mine aren't any better than anybody else's. So I'm happy to be a general surgeon. I'm happy just being general. I mean, general's a pretty high rank, you know.
That's true. Yeah, if you look at it from that direction, absolutely it is. But I was told though that you're coming to this area. You're able to bring some different skills and opportunities for the area that haven't been there before. So what are you able to do here?
Sure. Well, the hospital has, under the leadership of Matt Coleman and the whole group of leaders have been very conscientiously kind of slowly trying to increase capacity and increase service, options. And so I think my primary role here is to make sure that this hospital has 24-hour a day, 7 days a week coverage for basic surgical services. But then on top of that, I am an older guy, and so I am from the era where I had exposure to, a pretty broad base of general surgeries, like it really was general. And my practice in Vancouver, one of the facets of it that I had a lot of experience in is in anti-reflux surgery and foregut surgery. And foregut is like esophagus, stomach, and duodenum is the first part of your GI tract. And so that's kind of an area that I focus a lot of my practice over the last 30 years on. And so, most attention goes to anti-reflux surgery, and that, for people who have heartburn that don't respond well to medical treatment, there is a fairly easy and safe surgical option to truly arrest the reflux that's causing the heartburn and causing the gastric juices to go up the esophagus when it should not.
I'm trying to remember the term. My mom had dealt with this a number of years ago. Is it GERD or GERD? I can't remember.
Yeah. GERD is gastroesophageal reflux disease, which is kind of the overall title for situation where the acid in your stomach is going backwards upstream into your esophagus, and it's to a degree that your esophagus is suffering. So you can experience things as like pain in your upper abdomen or heartburn, where you feel that burning in your chest. But it can be, and I see a lot of people, even since I've been here, I see people who that gastric juice literally comes out of their mouth and is eroding their teeth. To where that it's really a pathologic situation.
I say, where is kind of the line between what we would see on the TV commercials for Tums, occasional heartburn, and when it becomes a problem?
Right. Well, a lot of it is common sense things. If you're having heartburn regularly and you're taking Tums every day, and despite that you're still having some heartburn or you're still having those symptoms, then probably Tums is not enough. You're probably your natural system to keep this gastric acid where it belongs and not letting it go back upstream is not working. And so the next level after that is taking medicines like Zantac or Prilosec, which are medicines that arrest the creation of acid in your stomach altogether. And then if that doesn't work, or despite that you can see that your esophagus is not healing or can't heal, or it can't even tolerate the bit of juice that's coming from the stomach to the esophagus, then the surgery is something that kind of causes a physical barrier. So you absolutely do not reflux. So you do the juices that you make in your stomach, the acid and the early digestive enzymes that your stomach elaborate, they absolutely get blocked from going upstream. So it's like the ultimate in reflux arresting.
I say, do you find that people at times don't realize how serious this can be? Because I know that left untreated, much of this can cause a lot of damage to the esophagus.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the problem is when people have it early. Some people, this starts in middle school and high school. And how does a person know it's not normal? Like, I see people who said, that they thought it was normal. It was only when their dentist said, "Gosh, your teeth are rotting out in the back. What's that about?" And they say, "Well, I do get this juice in my mouth all the time. Doesn't everybody?" And so the earlier it starts, the less people really have a reference point to know what's normal and not normal.
Mm-hmm. So, when people go to the surgery to deal with this, what's recovery like? This obviously is it's not a routine procedure, it sounds like.
Well, it's the surgery itself is actually pretty safe and quick. Right. You come in, you have the surgery, and I have you spend a night overnight just to make sure that everything is fine and make sure you're drinking okay. The biggest change that takes place is that these folks that have reflux, where their esophagus attaches to their stomach, it's just a wide open pipe, so things can go in and out, in and out. And after the surgery, when things go into your stomach, they stay there. And so that two things. One, when you swallow, it feels like you're feeling a resistance to things passing from your esophagus to your stomach, which you haven't had for years to decades, or maybe even your whole life. And also, then whatever you put in your stomach is not coming up anymore. So, like if you drink a carbonated beverage, or if you swallow a lot of air, where you used to be able to burp it up, but sometimes not even knowing you're burping it up, it's not burping up anymore. It's going to stay there for a bit. So, getting used to swallowing with a competent valve at the level of your esophagus to stomach, and getting used to dealing with a little bit of gaseous distension and less ability to belch is kind of what characterizes the majority of the recovery time.
I'll say so. I'd be curious to know what happens that causes your body's natural system to prevent this not to work.
Well, that's a good question. I think there's a part of it is that we weren't designed to last as long as we last now. So the diaphragm is a pretty thin little muscle, and so with 50, 60 years of coughing and breathing and straining and picking things up, the little hole where the esophagus goes through just kind of gets stretched out and allows the stomach to push up through it. And once that happens, it's a straight shot. You don't have some of the natural contour that blocks food or gastric juices from going backwards up where it doesn't belong. And sometimes people are just born with, that it's like anything else. You may have a great heart, but you have a weak sphincter between your esophagus and your stomach. Everybody has kind of strengths and weaknesses that they inherit, and a good number of us just inherit a poor connection between our stomach and our esophagus.
What is the surgery maybe is most common that you do? Because you mentioned basically it's everything that's in the trunk is what you do. It sounds like.
Right. I would say the hernia repair is probably the most common things we do. 7% of men will have inguinal hernias in their lives, and 50% of people by age 60 or so have some degree of herniation at the umbilicus. And people who have big operations in the past, 20% of those folks will have that not heal properly and have a weakness in their abdominal wall that constitutes a hernia.
Wow.
So that's probably the most common thing, the surgical thing that we do in general surgery.
It sounds like this is the sort of thing where I assume there is plenty of patients out there who are looking to get maybe some of these things, which a lot of them sound like to me are things that people might try to, quote, just live through.
True. I see that a lot. Like, I can't really go to the grocery store or go to the gym or walk down the street where I don't see somebody through their T-shirt saying, "Gosh, I'd sure like to fix for that guy. I wonder if it'd be appropriate for me to go up and give him my card and say, I sure could fix that for you."
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it'd be that noticeable. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can see it.
And our guest has been Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital. He's a general surgeon. And Steve, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We're a little short on time from what we normally have because we're in political season, so we're talking to candidates right now. But Steve, thanks.
Sounds good.
Steve, thanks for taking the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Honor to get to talk to you.
Hey, thank you. Dr. Steve Matous from Skyline Hospital over in White Salmon. It is 8:52 in the morning on MCT. We will come back and wrap things up for you after this.
On-the-job injuries can significantly impact your bottom line for both employers and workers. Cascade Orthopedics and Sports Medicine understands this. This is Dr. Stanley, and our team of providers will respond with an immediate solution for your injured worker with same-day appointment and cost-effective care. It's our alternative to an emergency room visit, saving you time and money. Just call Cascade Orthopedics and Sports Medicine at 296-2294 in the Dalles, Hood River, and White Salmon.
Did you know Skyline Health in White Salmon has its very own sports medicine doc superstar? That's right. Dr. Ryan Petering trained at OHSU, cared for professional Nike athletes, and even spent more than 15 years teaching other doctors how it's done. From sporting injuries to arthritis, he's here to help you move better, feel stronger, and keep doing the things you love. Want to live life to its fullest? Step right up and visit myskylinehealth.org. Skyline Health. World-class care right here at home.
Hey, Gorge neighbors, it's Angela from Cedar Creek Alpacas. You don't have to drive hours or spend a fortune on gas for a memorable summer adventure. Right here, just 15 minutes west of Hood River Bridge in Cook, Washington, you'll find cute baby alpacas, mountain views, and a peaceful farm experience the whole family will love. We're locally owned, close to home, and proud to have been voted best in the Gorge for attraction and family entertainment. Come slow down, meet the herd, and make a day of it at Cedar Creek Alpacas in Cook, Washington. More at cedarcreekalpacas.com.
Over 70% of Oregon's wildfires are started by people. One careless spark can destroy all that we love. It doesn't take much for a wildfire to ignite and spread quickly across our state's beautiful landscape. Everyday activities like mowing the grass or driving your car can spark a wildfire. Be extra careful this summer. Check weather conditions, follow posted fire restrictions, and keep fire tools on hand to be able to extinguish sparks or fires quickly. Sponsored by
Keep Oregon Green.
Go to keeporegongreen.org to learn more.
Tune in weekday mornings at 8:05 and keep up with community events and issues with the Mid-Columbia Today Show on Mid-Columbia's news leaders, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive.
8:56 in the morning on Mid-Columbia Today. I just got to thinking the last hour here on our station. Between the end of Mid-Columbia mornings, we had Living a Better Life, Dr. Sanjay Gupta talked about our excrement. The Ag Report at 8 o'clock discussed wolf excrement. And then we just talked about, heartburn, esophageal, issues, acid reflux. My apologies to those of you who were trying to eat breakfast this morning during our show. Sometimes just doesn't work out, does it? Good topics to have, by the way. They were all important topics. Just may not have been if you're having cereal, what you wanted to hear. But tomorrow on this show, Lori Zoller, Klickitat County Commission incumbent, will join us. Second of our 3 interviews. And then we'll talk Columbia Gorge Discovery Center. Susan Buse is going to be here. Going to talk to her about a photographic archive that they've digitized. And this is a very good thing. And something that will preserve a lot of history of the region. So we'll talk to Susan about what they've done. Monday, we talk Mid-Columbia Center for Living in the Port of the Dalles. Tuesday, Hood River County and Wasco County. Wednesday, Klickitat County Sheriff's candidate John Bruce, and we'll talk White Salmon Valley Schools. Thursday of next week, by the way, Gene Klajeski, the other Klickitat County Commission candidate, will join us on the show. As we move on along with that, our last sheriff candidate to have on is Dwayne Matulovich. He'll be on Friday the 17th on the show. So be sure to join us or make sure you're getting the podcast downloaded. Whichever way you'd like to hear it, it is absolutely fine with us. Our sponsors are bringing both of them to you. Anything else we need to get in here in the last few seconds? I want to mention here, there's an author talk with S.K. DeMarinis, the author of the novel The Station Master's Wife. Actually, 2 of them. This evening at 6:30 at the Dalles-Wasco County Library, and Friday at 5 at the Hood River Library. So you have a chance, if you're interested in that, either direction. Also, don't forget, Traffic Jam, Car Show, and more is Saturday at the Wham Museum in Hood River. That's always a big event. You can get details at the Wham Museum website, whammuseum.org. And if you got bottles and cans stacking up, Hood River Valley Leo's monthly bottle and can collection is from 9 to noon on Saturday at the southwest corner of the Rosars parking lot at 1867 12th Street. This month, raising funds for Fish Food Bank. And one more thing, Mid-Columbia Senior Center Bazaar, 9 to 2 Saturday, 1112 West 9th in the Dalles, with quilts, fabric, supplies, unique crafts, and the new To You shop will be open. We're done. For Cameron Eisenberg producing, I'm Mark Bailey. Thanks for being with us. Talk to you again on Friday.
Mid-Columbia Today Show is a public affairs presentation of Bicoastal Media Columbia River. The views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the station, parent company, or of the sponsors. We welcome your suggestions for future shows. Call us at 541-386-1511. Listen to Mid-Columbia Today where you want. Follow or subscribe to Mid-Columbia Today wherever you download your podcast to get the show delivered every day to your mobile device.